Ever felt like you're just drowning in documents? Struggling with reports that are never quite consistent and those compliance headaches just keep piling up. What if artificial intelligence could actually help cut through all that mess, bring some real order to it all? Today, we're doing a deep dive into something that promises just that. It's called the ADPA, Advanced Document Processing and Automation Framework.
Exactly. ADPA, it's essentially a modular AI-driven platform built specifically for enterprises. Its main job, generating, managing, and crucially, governing those business-critical documents. It's really designed to tackle those chronic problems, the inefficiency, the inconsistency, the compliance risks that, let's face it, plague manual document processes and kind of fragmented systems. Some might know it by its older name, the Requirements Gathering Agent. It's currently at version 3.2.0.
Okay, so our mission today is to really get under the hood of ADPA. We want to unpack its key features, look at how it's supposed to fit into, existing company setups, and ultimately understand how it aims to revolutionize the way you handle those critical documents. We'll give you a really solid, informed perspective on this tool.
All right, let's unpack this then. At its core, ADPA is all about AI-powered document generation. So for someone trying to kick off a project or maybe analyze a really complex business process, what does that actually mean day to day?
Right. Well, it means ADPA isn't just using one single AI model. It's actually orchestrating multiple AI providers, specifically OpenAI, Google AI, GitHub Copilot, and Llama. The system intelligently manages the context. It understands the relationships between your data points, not just keywords. This helps it generate, really professional, relevant, and importantly, standards-compliant business documents. Think of it like having an expert co-author right there with you for your critical business stuff, someone who gets the nuances. Standards-compliant. That sounds incredibly important, maybe essential, especially if you're in a regulated industry. What specific frameworks, what standards does ADPA actually understand and support?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. ADPA comes bundled with automated templates and workflows that are already aligned with key industry standards. So for business analysis, it fully supports PMBOK v3, the business analysis body of knowledge. That covers requirements gathering, stakeholder analysis, planning. For project management, it aligns with the PMBOK 7th edition. It automatically generates things like project charters, scope statements, and all those management plans, stakeholder, risk, quality, cost, schedule, the works. And this is a big one, DMBOK 2.0, the data management body of knowledge that's currently in progress. The aim there is to support data governance, architecture, quality, master data templates too.
Okay, so for you, maybe you're working within these specific standards or you just need to ensure regulatory boxes are ticked. What's the real game changer here? What does this actually unlock?
Well, the real insight, I think, is that it's not just about checking those compliance boxes, right? It's about freeing up your analysts, your project managers, your most valuable people from that really tedious, often error-prone task of making sure every single document fits the standard perfectly. ADPA handles that automatically. It ensures the documents meet the industry and regulatory specs. So, for instance, it can spin up a PMBOK-compliant project charter or a PMBOK v3 requirements template. It's got built-in validation, flexible template settings, which means your team can focus purely on the strategic content, the actual problem solving. They can be confident the structure and the validation side are handled. You get these end-to-end pipelines with quality checks and audit trails built right in.
Right, generating the documents is one piece of the puzzle. But like you said, in the real world, these things don't just exist in isolation. The real challenge often is getting them smoothly into your existing, maybe complicated enterprise systems without just creating more silos, more complexity. How does ADPA actually tackle that integration challenge?
You've absolutely hit on a critical point there. ADPA is specifically designed for what they call seamless enterprise integration, and it enables end-to-end automation. So it offers deep integrations with the platforms most enterprises already use. This helps unify documentation and streamline the whole workflow. We're talking direct publishing to Atlassian Confluence, comprehensive management within Microsoft SharePoint, including automatic folder creation, metadata handling, version control. It also integrates with Adobe Document Services for professional PDF generation and even some document intelligence features. And looking ahead, there's a phase 2 plan for Adobe, aiming for really polished InDesign layouts, custom branding, automated charts via the Illustrator API, even enhanced image stuff with the Photoshop API. Plus, it connects with standard version control systems and think GitHub Enterprise, GitLab, Azure DevOps for managing document versions. And of course, it links up with project management tools like Jira, Azure DevOps, and ServiceNow.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty extensive list of integration points. So how do people actually use this thing? Is it all happening magically behind the scenes, or are there, more hands-on ways to interact?
Good question. It actually offers several user-friendly interfaces to suit different folks and workflows. For the power users, or maybe for plugging into automated CI/CD pipelines, there are CLI tools command line interface. So you could, for example, generate a project charter with a simple command like ADPA, generate key project-charter output.docs. It even has interactive menus to pick your AI provider. Then there's a robust, production-ready REST API. It's built using an API-first approach fully described by OpenAPI specs. This allows for programmatic control generating documents, managing templates, integrating with other custom systems. It supports standard authentication like API keys or GWT. And for users who prefer a visual approach, there's an admin web interface. It's a modern web portal built with Next.js and React, where you can manage templates, track generation jobs, configure integrations, all through clicks.
So whether you're comfortable typing commands, writing code against an API, or just clicking through a website, ADPA seems to have an option. That level of flexibility is really quite powerful for different teams. But okay, for something truly enterprise grade, the real strength, the robustness, it often comes down to what's under the hood, right? Let's peek behind that curtain. What makes ADPA reliable, maintainable, and actually ready for large-scale deployment?
Yeah, absolutely. What's really key here is its modular and extensible architecture. It follows a layered, service-oriented pattern specifically, an API-first microservices design. It's built primarily with modern tech Node.js, TypeScript, using the Express.js framework. The core parts are distinct services. You've got an AI processing engine that juggles the different AI providers, a document generation engine using the templates, the REST API server itself, the CLI, an integration layer, the admin UI, and an analytics piece. It's specifically built for horizontal scaling. That means you can boost its performance pretty much linearly just by adding more server nodes or worker instances, so it can grow as your needs grow. It also uses caching mechanisms like Redis for things that need to be fast, like fetching template lists. And it provides standard monitoring endpoints and health checks, so you always have visibility and can see how it's performing, even under heavy load.
Okay, reliability, that's huge in enterprise settings. What happens if, say, one of those external AI providers you mentioned, like OpenAI or Google, has an outage? Does the whole ADPA system just stop?
That's a really important question. ADPA is designed with quite robust reliability features precisely for that scenario. It's built to handle failures from those AI providers gracefully. It has fallback mechanisms built in. So if a primary provider has a sustained outage, it can automatically switch over to a backup provider. It also uses standard techniques like retry logic with exponential backoff for temporary glitches, maybe a network timeout, or hitting an API rate limit. And critically, it uses a circuit breaker pattern. You can think of it like an electrical fuse in your house for all its important external connections. This prevents one failing system from dragging down the entire platform. It isolates the failure. Plus, all the critical operations are logged thoroughly, and error handling is designed to be robust, but also user-friendly, minimizing disruption.
Makes sense. And in today's world, especially with regulations and data sensitivity, enterprise-grade security and compliance, that's not optional, it's fundamental. How does ADPA tackle these critical concerns, particularly when it's generating potentially sensitive business documents?
Absolutely non-negotiable. Security is baked into ADPA's architecture from the start, following a defense-in-depth strategy. That means multiple layers of security. For authentication, verifying who you are, it supports standard methods. JWT for stateless API calls. OAuth 2.0 OpenID Connect for enterprise single sign-on, so it can plug into things like Azure AD, SAML, Active Directory, and API keys for scripts or automation tools. For authorization, what you're allowed to do, it uses role-based access control, or RBAC. It defines specific roles like system admin, project manager, viewer, even an integration bot role. This enforces the principle of least privilege, so users only get access absolutely necessary for their job. Then there's data protection. All the stored data documents, templates, configurations is encrypted at rest using strong AES 256 encryption. All communication over the network, whether it's the API, CLI, or integrations, requires secure HTTPS with strong TLS encryption. Sensitive stuff like API keys or tokens, they're stored in secure vaults like Doten files or Azure Key Vault, and they are never logged or exposed in error messages. And finally, audit and logging. It maintains immutable audit logs. These track user actions, system events, who accessed what, when. This is absolutely crucial for regulatory audits and demonstrating compliance with standards like GDPR, SOX, IGTA, ISO 27001, and others. On top of that, the development process itself includes regular dependency scanning, code analysis, security scans, even penetration testing.
Wow, okay. It sounds incredibly comprehensive already, like a solid solution for what companies need right now. But thinking strategically, making an investment, what's next for ADPA? What's the roadmap look like? How are they ensuring it stays relevant, future-proof?
Right, the roadmap alignment and future-proofing seems pretty clearly laid out. They're showing a real commitment to ongoing innovation. So back in Q1 2025, they delivered the PMBOK v3 and PMBOK 7 support, the multi-AI provider capability, and those initial Confluence and SharePoint integrations. Right now, Q2 2025, the focus is on getting that PMBOK 2.0 support implemented, which they list as in progress. Also, Docker containerization and Kubernetes deployment templates to make it easier to deploy and manage, and an advanced analytics dashboard for better insights. Looking ahead to Q3 2025, the plan includes adding enterprise SSO integration, more advanced workflow automation capabilities, potentially some real-time collaboration features, and even mobile app support. And a really significant future piece is that phase 2 of the Adobe Creative Suite integration. The goal there is to really elevate PDF output using professionally designed layouts, automated data feeds via the Illustrator API, and enhanced image processing through Photoshop, turning documents into premium presentations.
That is definitely an ambitious roadmap. How do they make sure they hit those targets with consistent quality? And maybe even more importantly for such a complex system, how do they manage the inevitable risks along the way?
Yeah, good point. That's where their testing and quality assurance and risk management processes become really vital, and they need to be continuous. The project includes a whole suite of automated tests, unit tests, integration tests, performance tests, likely using tools like Jest. A key requirement is that every single release must pass the entire test suite before it can be deployed. They're aiming for high code coverage, like 90% plus check. They also specifically validate the document templates and the generated documents themselves for compliance against the standards. Code quality is enforced through strict TypeScript standards, using tools like ESLint and Prettier to keep things consistent and maintainable. On the risk side, they maintain an active risk register. This identifies potential problems, technical risks like an AI provider changing its API, operational risks, external factors, organizational issues, even financial risks. So for example, they've identified the risk of AI provider failures, and the mitigation is that failover logic we talked about. Security breaches, mitigated by the layered security approach and regular audits. Potential delays in roadmap items like maybe PMBOK 2.0 taking longer.
Mitigated by being ready to reprioritize and communicating clearly, they actively monitor these risks and have defined processes for escalating issues if needed. And they have clear success metrics tied to business value. Things like aiming to cut average document generation time by 60%, achieving 98% plus compliance automatically, and supporting, say, over 10 concurrent enterprise integrations.
It really does sound like a framework that's been thought through, not just for today's problems, but with a clear strategic roadmap for tackling tomorrow's challenges and delivering ongoing value. So we've really taken a journey through the ADPA framework today, from its AI-powered core and how it adheres to those critical industry standards, through its robust enterprise integrations, its flexible interfaces, and down into those solid architectural foundations. We've seen that deep commitment to security, to scalability, and that very clear forward-looking roadmap.
Indeed, it really positions itself as a tool designed to help organizations, speed up their digital transformation, definitely improve operational efficiency, and streamline those critical documentation processes, all with a level of consistency and compliance that's frankly hard to achieve manually.
So here's something to think about. If ADPA truly delivers on its promise, reducing that manual effort by 50% or more, ensuring nearly perfect compliance, maybe 98% plus accuracy, creating a future where documentation is just fast, accurate, and standardized, what new possibilities does that unlock? What could that level of automation and reliability free your enterprise up to do in terms of innovation, strategic thinking, decision-making? What problems could you finally tackle if creating and managing documents just wasn't the bottleneck it often is today? Something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.